Good evening. You are listening live to the Extreme Movie Show. I'm your host, Rob, broadcasting to you from the Extreme Studios, which is found in the Pinellas Palace, which is found just west of Orlando, Florida. I have on the line with me from the Great Midwest One RDV, and it's getting ready to thunderstorm really, really nasty over here where I'm at in Central Florida. And tonight's movie brings me back to, a nice, perfect storm we had back in the mid-'80s. And, of course, that would be Miami Vice and this whole MTV-type television scene, because we have, from the Exorcist himself, William Friedkin, To Live and Die in L.A. I like this film a lot, RDV. I saw it once a long time ago. I remember going, it's very Michael Mann-ish, and I'll talk about why as we get into it. I'm a big fan of the Exorcist original movie. I know it's not doesn't seem scary now, but it's done right, and I even like the third one. But my first impressions of this rewatch, and I go, I remember when I was younger watching it going, oh, there's not a lot of action for an action movie. And then when I'm just now rewatching, I'm like, you know what? It's a drama. It's not an action film. However, it's got one of the best car chase scenes of all time.
Oh,
and I'm including Bullet and everything else there too. A lot of natural light shooting in here. This is as gritty and gutty as it gets. And for those of you that don't know, the whole Silence of the Lambs started in 1986 with William Petersen, who plays the head cop in here, a guy that's got nothing to lose and is going to get revenge for his partner. Or will he? That's something that's interesting about this movie, because there's one, maybe two big little things at the end that honestly, RDV, I got to tell you, surprised the hell out of me. I'm not even going to mention what they are right now. What's your initial take on this film?
So William Petersen, I know he's in Manhunter, never watched it. And I saw him a couple episodes of NCIS, he's on there.
Okay. Fear with Marky Mark. He's the dad.
Oh, that's right. He is. I forgot about that.
He's good. He likes to pose a lot when he acts, which I have no problem with it.
This guy comes, you see him right away. He's tall, he's built, he's in shape, he's kind of a loose cannon in a sense, He,
he'll do whatever it takes.
And he's a guy, and you always ask, who are we cheering for in the movie? I'm cheering for William Petersen. John Pankow can go jump off a bridge.
Oh, I'm with you.
Yeah.
See, the 80s knew how to make you go, cops are stupid, bosses are dumb and stupid. The right thing is go do it, and you're already sucked into it. So start us off, sir.
What starts off with, it's basically you have William Petersen, and he's working the Secret Service, and he's with another guy, and the presidential suite. You got George Bush Senior. Or no, it was a senior. It was Reagan. That's right.
Reagan. This is Reagan.
Reagan. You hear Reagan's going to speak in the background. They're in a hotel.
And I love hearing Reagan's voice.
And he's just coming out of this room, and he looks around. He sees a guy, room service guy, walk there, but he doesn't come back. He goes over there. He knows he dropped a tray. Looks inside the tray. There's nothing in it. So he immediately calls the guy. He's like, "We got a live one, And he goes up to the roof, and he's looking, where's the guy? This guy's getting ready to basically scale basically down or rappel down the side of the building, and he's wearing a giant bomb vest. And really cool.
Jihad vest.
The really cool one, not the cheapy ones with the C4.
He looked like he was loaded to the gill, sir.
Oh, he had the sticks of dynamites on his vest, everything, and he's ready to go. And he's like, "That's the Israel, that's the United States," It's like, and he's like, "Okay," and the guy's like, "Hey, I'll put my gun down. I'm gonna shoot you. We're gonna walk out of this. Let's have a nice conversation." The guy's like, "No." So then you see the other guy who walked down his boss, basically William Petersen's boss, who was in the kitchen down below. He came out to help him, and he's on the other side of the building, underneath the guy, the ledge, and he pulls the guy down, he throws him. So then when the guy place explodes, and you see meat chunks, and it's like blood, and of course he helps him up. They're sitting there, and he's like, "I'm too old for this shit." I'm like, "What is this, Murtaugh already?" We haven't had to get lethal weapon yet, but you find out that he's in charge of the Secret Service. He's the older guy. I'm thinking he must have climbed out of a window or something. They climb up there. I don't know how. I don't really care, at this point.
Right.
He had an awesome, exploding opening scene, and it's 15 minutes in the movie, and then they go ahead, and he's gonna have a retirement speech, because he's retiring. So they go down to a bar. No, they're all getting drunk, and after that, he basically him and William Petersen are kind of talking, and he's like, "Dude, what do you mean you're gonna quit? As retire?" He's like, "What am I gonna do without you?" And then the next thing you know, he gets a line. The guy says, "Well, I got one less job." But he's like, "Well, you take me for backup, He's like, "You only get 3 days away from retirement." He's like, "Oh, it's don't worry, it's a routine thing. If I need you when the rest comes, I'll call you." Of course, this leads into introduction to we have more 80s music.
Wang Chung did it.
Yeah, yes,
And, you know, if you
yes.
get lucky, that means you're Wang Chunging tonight, sir.
You got William Dafoe, is printing some stuff, and he's making them counterfeit money, and they show the process, everything. It's really cool, the step by step. So if anybody wants to know how to do it, go ahead. There you go.
Well, here's the thing about this movie. It's about 2 hours long, and I really, honestly, I'm being straight with you, and I was curious to see how you felt about this because it's a young William Dafoe. But I love the scene because they took a few minutes of showing him with the lithography and going through the whole process. When I got out of college or high school in the late 80s and started college, in the first year there, I worked part-time as a graphic artist. So everything was manual like that with developing and doing and all that. So again, you and I have talked about this before. One of the things we like, whether you're a good guy or a bad guy, is the professionalism that you have for your craft, and also the ability for the director to show it to you without dumbing you down or making it stupid or not bogging you down with useless details. You know this guy's a bad dude because he's hanging out, they got creepy music playing, and he's printing money. That's all you need to know.
Yeah, and you see him go into this warehouse, or with a lady, as and she's and he basically goes out and lights a painting on fire. They paints the wall. It's like, what is he doing? He's watching the flames as the eyes are flames. You can already tell this guy's a psychopath. And if anybody knows William Dafoe, he plays villains really well.
Yes,
when he does it. So his name is Masters, Eric Rick Masters. And basically, he's going around and he's going to start printing some stuff. So, but getting back to the point where you have the other guy, the chief, of the U.S. Secret Service, the guy's about to retire. He goes up to this building up there, and he does a little thing, goes by the 3 giant boulders. It's like always cliche thing. Looks at the camera, don't see anybody. It goes up. Oh, the fence is locked. So, they're in the middle of at the outskirts of
it's in a desert. I think it was Lancaster, California.
Yeah,
probably shot on scene. Honestly, this is a super low budget movie. You feel like you're there. It's great. It's great cinematography.
It is
fantastic.
So he takes. He's not going to cut the bull because they're the bull cutters. So he finds this conveniently placed pallet, puts it up against the fence, then run it and jumps over the barbed wire fence, and then gets in there. He looks around, and then he's like, I can't get in this door and stuff. So then he's like, the door's locked. So he walks around and he finds this dumpster. Well, we just saw him about 15 minutes ago, 10 minutes before this, that that's where the shredded bills are. The waste, and stuff was thrown inside there. And he's going through there, and then next thing you know, we see Rick Masters and his sidekick, Jack, played by Jack Hoar. Basically, with shotguns, they shoot him, and then they leave him. And of course, they're gonna leave him in the dumpster. And I love these little font sayings, January, military time.
Oh, the timelines,
yeah. Oh, timelines, and and it's really cheap font too. It's so anyway, so
not only did he shoot him, sir, with a shotgun, it was a bloody mess. He spat on him with his tobacco.
Yeah, twice,
just to show how insolent this guy was for trying to break in on their turf.
It is yellow, nasty spit. So anyway, 2 days later, here comes the rest of the squad. Yeah, with William Petersen, and they're looking around. Where is he? Where is he? They walk in. They, everything's cleaned out. All the printing gear is gone out of this little shack, and also up there is the dryer. It's a front load dryer, and that's because they use that.
That's how they wash it. Yeah,
they wash the money. Was it a dryer or wash machine? I can't tell. But anyway, they go out there and they're looking around. Where is he? And basically, he notices there's a puddle of blood in the corner of the dumpster, and he sees, oh, he's in there. So we're already set up. So now he's got this hard on. He wants to go after Masters. Masters did it, but he can't prove it and stuff. He goes to his boss, Robert Downey Sr. I think that's what his boss was, right? Was it Senior? I know he's in this movie. I couldn't recognize him at first because I don't ever really seen him when he's young.
Who's that?
Robert Downey's dad.
Oh, I didn't even really notice off the top of my head. I didn't think of that.
He was Thomas Bateman. Yeah. And he goes to him, and basically it's like, hey, I need I want to go after this guy, and he's like, well, we're getting a new partner. Introduce John Pankow, who basically is a goody two shoes. He doesn't have the stomach for this, and basically this leads to them kind of surveilling, like masters throughout the movie, and those two having to force to work together. But also we get we get John Turturro in here as Carl Cody, who was a smuggler that was running the bills for him, and he gets caught and chased at the airport after they find out that he was using counterfeit bills at the front desk, and the competition. He ends up going to jail.
They filmed this actually live there at the airport. That's what makes it so believable.
Did anybody know what's happening?
Well, in one or two scenes, apparently not. But so here's the thing up to this point here. We're meeting all the characters. It's the first act. I really think Petersen is an actor. He's a different kind of actor. And I remember he stuck out as just being different then. He's great with his subtle facial expressions. He's not over the top like I talk about with Jeremy Brett on our Sherlock Holmes TV show review, the Granada series. He's got the overly dramatic facial expressions. Petersen's is a little more subtle. Like when he looks at his partner's, his dead partner's body, and there we kind of don't see it. We see his reaction to it and stuff. And he's got a great way of conveying an intensity in his face without yelling and screaming. Yes.
He's a very angry character, very kind of crazy, because we get a glimpse of him and his personality outside the case. He's got his girl he keeps on parole is an informant. He's sleeping with her. Ruth, played by Darlanne Fluegel, who's been in a few other movies other than this, but not
Smoke Show.
Yeah, it's very
big time model back in the day. Died here in Central Florida, Alzheimer's, about 8 years ago. Yeah,
2017. Early on, Alzheimer's. Sad.
Yeah.
I thought Alzheimer's gets you in your 80s. I think the 60s was like,
it can be present like in your 50s, bro.
Yeah, so that's usually nice. She was like 56, 57, and then
she wasn't that far down the street from my old stomping grounds. Me and Eglantine from I Love Comics or whatever he calls his channel these days.
We don't know who that guy is. He hasn't been in the channel for 3 years.
Who are we speaking of, sir?
Yes.
Okay. The Geeky Puppet Show.
No. Anyway, so yeah, he's pretty much like using her, and like he is such a jerk to her. Sexually using her. Yeah, basically forcing her, blackmailing her into sex. He says like, well, and she's like, what if I stop giving you information? He's like, well, then you're going back to jail. She's like,
but you know what? This is the 80s description of a woman always wants more, and she's basically saying that, right? And he's like, no, fuck that. He goes over and he bangs the shit out. There's a lot of male ass in here, and I know that's a factual statement. And there's some erotica kind of stuff in here.
She wants more. It's just that he's a dick.
She loves.
He's using her. It's like she actually starting to fall in love with him a little bit, but then he treats her. He treats her like garbage. He's not a nice guy. As much
she's
as
just mean to him.
So of course she does get him back though, in the only way.
A little bit later.
Later on, I know.
Yeah.
And
he gets what's coming to him. Don't worry.
But so this whole entire movie, you're like, you're with William Petersen all the way. Like when every time they show William Dafoe, he is just slime ball. He is just scuzzy. He does not trust anybody, and if you cross him, he'll kill you. He doesn't hesitate.
But you know what? Here's the thing.
And as I said, Turturro went to prison, so he's like we were introduced to another character real quickly as Dean Stockwell, who's basically his lawyer. And he's talking. He's like, can you get him out of there? He's like, well, the most he's gonna do is 3 times. Like 3 times he's gonna talk. And of course, he goes to Steve James.
Yes.
In the hood neighborhood of LA.
Playing basketball.
Yeah, playing basketball. Hey, bro, let's go for a walk. He's like, here, I got these 20s for you. It's like, he's like, I need like 50s. He's like, bro, 20s, whatever. Like it. And anyway, they're having a whole heart-to-heart kind of chummy little thing, kind of like almost like friends a bit. And he's like, I need a job for you. He's like, well, I'll do it for this. He's like, and then the guy's like, no, do this, and then then I'll pay the rest. He's like, and I love how Steve James is like, shit, you just print money. You don't care what money is. It's just paper to you. So,
the thing is when you would pass money 20 or higher, that's what gets looked at. And back then, still somewhat analog at that time, that's how you kept under the radar. You'd be much better off printing like 5s and 10s and trying to pass it with the occasional 20 being broke. But if you're moving in big amounts of money, like he's talking about, how do you do that? So he was using Steve and his gang connections as a front to disperse the money out in there, and he would take a cut. So that was his pass-through, Rob. You don't really need to know that. It's not pertinent to the film.
No.
But what's pertinent is what you said at the beginning, that you said he was a dick and he treats people bad, and if you cross him, you'll kill him. But you know what? That's consistent with "don't fuck with me." And the one thing I was thinking about with Petersen, and I know I think you're disagreeing when you say that he treats her like shit. I don't know how they began having sex. I know they have sex.
I don't know, but I mean,
well, here's the thing. You could argue that he was so emotional with his partner, who was an older guy getting ready to retire, that's the only thing consuming his mind, because it's only been like a few weeks later after that happened. He's being forced to be dealing with this partner that we'll talk about here shortly. So it's basically, it's like, bitch, shut up. You know, he could have said at the very least, at the end of this, that's fine. But you know what? He keeps the frame in that situation, letting her know what her place is, because in a way he doesn't trust her.
Yes. You know,
fuck her, but he doesn't trust her.
He's going through emotional damage. He's
worked up. He's intense.
But he is kind of nice to her later on in the film, though, when because she works at a strip joint. You know, when he talks to her. You know, So he does. He's on that borderline. You know, he's on the edge of just like losing it. You know,
such an 80s thing.
I know
he's on the edge.
I know he's skirting that line. You know.
And his boss is a complete sellout. He's like, yeah, you violated this. You can't ask me this. And you're like, fuck you, boss. Yeah, go kill more people.
So I never knew that the Secret Service, U.S. Secret Service, run around like this. I thought the Secret Service protect people. I
thought. Correct me if I'm wrong, people out there in the audience. But I thought the Secret Service was created back in the 1800s when we were still roughly on a silver or gold standard. When they started printing bills and all that, and that became a whole separate thing. There, I may be wrong on the initial history of it.
The Treasury, because the FBI is the ones that goes after the criminal. Secret Service was usually the ones that protected like the president and all stuff. So that's
there's a history of it.
Yeah, so it just kind of threw me off. It's like at this point, you might as well be IRS. Anyway, so they basically they agree. Him and Steve James agree on like they need to hit this guy, kill him, you know. And you see John Turturro, he's in the yard, you know. He's in the yard. Yeah, I love these. You show
gonna get shanked.
You see the guys playing basketball. Then you see like and it's basically like if you watched
I really want
Escape from Alcatraz. Every time they show a prison scene, everyone's segregated by their stereotype, you know,
race.
Yeah, their race. Yes, and it's very typical. You know, you got the black guys playing basketball again, and then you got the Mexicans in the corner. Then you got the ginger Nazis and all they're over there, and then like. And then he's sitting down next to this one guy. He's like,
I thought this scene was funny because he's like, hey, it's about to go down, and everyone's like moving and getting out of the way, and people moving, and it's like, who's getting shanked? I'm like, you're gonna get fucked here, John Turturro. This is before John Turturro got big, because he got big in a couple of years from now in some films all over. He I felt like he was an independent actor in a way, because
he come off like a joke, like he wasn't Transformers and then some of the other movies later on.
No, he I thought he was a great actor. This movie's got great second actors, or you know, people that weren't necessarily big at the time.
Yes.
It's really good. But the big thing that he was in, I know that he was in Do the Right Thing, More Better Blues of Spike Lee and all that, Jungle Fever, but he was also Barton Fink is the one I'm thinking of. Yeah, 1990, 91 or something like that. Oh, that's right, he was in Monk. Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah. We also had Debra Feuer, who basically is Rick Master's girlfriend, you know. She's one of the few surviving casts in this movie. And
let me ask you at this point.
Go ahead.
The action sequence, because again, there's not a lot of them. We got the big blow up opening gambit. Okay, fine, whatever. That was kind of funny. The guy blowing to bits, trying to take out Reagan.
Well, I'm trying to get to the car chase, explain it and everything, because
I get it. We got time.
Yeah.
But the big action scene before that was actually the chase in LAX, where he chases the guy into the bathroom. Everyone's pulling the gun on each other.
That was John Turturro.
I think it's pretty gritty. It's pretty realistic.
It was good, and him running after them, and then we even got them going after the two guys who were fronting money. The one on the bridge and the other guy on the road. Yeah, there was two chase scenes there by foot. I'm thinking, like, I've watched some other shows where the other guy just like, well, you could cut him off with the car. You know, but yeah, there's a foot chase. And you're watching the guy on the bridge. He's running around. He's in jeans, and he runs down the rail tracks, and he goes on the bridge, and he's running into flannel stuff. And you got William Petersen basically chasing after him, and you see him slowly gain up in his silhouette. You always see a silhouette, and you see the sun behind them.
Yeah, you see the heat waves coming too. This is a great shot you're describing here, because the guy who did this, you know, who was the cinematographer, he does the natural light. So there's, I think, no less than 4 scenes I caught driving at dusk with the natural light behind him, and that's only the light they use. Yes. That was so big in the 80s, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, so William catches up to him with Petersen, then he finally tackles him, and he's like, "Why'd you run?" He's like, I like I
Because
love the
you're
other guy.
chasing me, man.
Yeah. That was the other guy. He's like, why are you chasing me? And he's like,
Well, so what it is
they're
he's
fronting
trying to get
money.
revenge for his partner.
Yeah,
So his chick tells him about this Chinaman coming into town from San Francisco, and she happened to know some information. She's like, "What's that worth to you?" And he's like,
because
"Nothing, basically." But he goes back to her to be nice, and he's got his new partner who wants to do stuff by the book, where he's like a loose cannon, so he can't really trust him, and he's calling him like a pussy and stuff. But the guy wants to be a good partner; he just wants to do it more or whatever. But you see him kind of edging over to the side, and so they're trying to. The basic what's going to happen is they're going to rob this Chinaman, this Asian guy, of $50,000 because that's the money they're going to need to front to the main printing bad guy as they set up a deal with it, and they got to do it like within a day.
Yeah, that's the reason first before he goes back to her because she talked about it. He didn't want to hear about it. So if for first he got an introduction through Gene Stockwell.
Mm-hmm.
So we get the Miami Vice thing here undercover.
Yep.
And they're like posing as two guys from out of town, out of country. Yep.
They're from Palm Springs.
Palm Springs.
Don't have a Dan.
They're from Florida. He's like, and we're gonna move some bonds and stuff, but we need smaller bills and stuff, So they need 30. He wants 30 grand up front. They're all meeting they're meeting at the gym, and then they're gonna have, and then they're in the talking in the sauna and all stuff. He's like 30. He's like 30 grand up front. And if you have it, then I know you're legit. And to go to the cop, the cops. So then they go back to the police station. They go to talk to Robert Downey Sr. And he's like, "Well, we need 30 grand." He's like, "You're only gonna get 10,000." He's like, "They're waiting to give you 30 grand." And he's like, "Yeah," and he pretty much goes off on him and over and yells at him. And then he goes back. Yeah, so that's when Petersen goes back there. He talks to her at the strip club. And he says, "Hey, is this legit? All this stuff you're talking to me about this?" And it's like, "Who?" It's like, "What?" He's like, "What do you mean just some guy told you about this? They don't just tell you this, for no reason. It's like there's a catch." It's like, so then while he does it, he goes, they meet at the airport. They find Michael Chong, playing Thomas Lang, and he's all dressed in the pimp suit and the gray, got the white color print and everything. He's got this silver briefcase that they always do in the 80s. And they call it. He's called to the desk. And he's like, here's the envelope. It's an envelope. You look there. He says, "Hey, asshole." He's like, "What?" And they grabs him, and you see two guys come out to start chasing him. They get in the car, and John Pankow drives away. And then he's like, keep going. And then there's this huge car chase that goes on for like 10 minutes.
I'm not exaggerating when I sit there and say this is as good as anything like in Bullet or maybe the first or second
French Connection.
Yeah, French Connection. I'm not joking when I say this. There's a certain intimacy with this that you feel like you're in it or around it where they're driving and how it is, rather than you're far away watching the action happen like a big set piece. It's quite good.
They drive. They go under. They finally go under the bridge, and they're gonna rob him. And he's like, and he's trying to. And you see Wimpy. He's like, "Open your freaking briefcase!" Slamming against the column pillar of the bridge. And they found. And then finally it opens up. There's a phone book there. He's like, "What the fuck?" He's like, and then he's like, "You're wearing that, aren't you?" And you get the belt with the money, like they always have. I love that.
Yeah.
And he grabs the belt, but then the guys who are chasing
pants down for the rest.
yeah, he's looking for the rest. And then the guy who's chasing him, he sits up. He's got the rifle. He lines up on the bridge, and they shoots the guy in the back. And they're like, "Oh shit!" Did they get out of there? Get in the car. This leads to a huge car chase scene, and they're driving through like the. What is that called? The culvert thing, or the
L.A. River or the basin or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Would flow through it. Yeah.
Cul-de-sac or something like, I don't know. Whatever. Yeah. And they're driving through there, and he's like, and you got, William Petersen's driving, Pankow's in the back, and they're like, "What the hell is this?" Jeez, he's panicking and everything, and then they get a bullet through the back of the windshield. They're like, "What the fuck?" And now they're surrounded by all 12 different cars. So this is where Peter said we were introduced to before. He jumped off a bridge. We thought he was going to die. This was immediately after the other guy was killed.
He's crazy.
And next thing you know, he's had a bungee jump. He did a base jump.
Yep.
So and he explains to the guy, he's like, "Dude, once you get over your fear, you master it. It doesn't. Yeah. And he's like, and you get that adrenaline, and he's got that same adrenaline look at his face as they're weaving through traffic. They go up and then he goes on. He's like, they're being chased. And they go through this back alleyway of the business park.
Yep.
There's all these jump trucks, or garbage trucks, or
Plus one for not driving through, 2 people carrying broken glass across the street conveniently.
I was waiting for that.
Wood box of vegetables.
I was waiting for the guys to go back and forth, and then don't drive through. But they're weaving in between these trucks, backing up and forth, and the semi trucks backing up at this like shipping yard. And then he ends up getting onto the freeway, but he goes on the off ramp. He's like,
wrong way, yes.
And he's like, and I love how he's like, can you just shoot back? Get these guys off me. He's making cranky jokes. And it causes a pile up, and you're able to get away. And they drive down, they pull up the bridge.
I was disappointed this part because I thought it was so good.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, they got out, it's over. But when they get into the aqueduct and they start driving and all that and everything too, it's like, oh, it's like a video. It's like Grand Theft Auto. You stole a car, and now everybody's coming at you, everything, throwing there. This is awesome.
This is where I would go in the games. I would drive down there, around, get every can with the cops, and I have like a helicopter chase me and everything. It's just like, this is bullshit. But
he's driving next to a train that's moving, literally that close.
Yes,
to it.
They're on the side.
Filmmaking.
And then he cuts it off, so he gets to the right side of it, and then the guys who are pursuing him can't chase him anymore, and they pull into like this like black neighborhood, like a low income neighborhood, and see these guys got the deep box, the other guys like a little tambourine, they're kind of walking their own, and they're like, okay, do we trust these guys or not? No? And then they start talking and stuff. He's like, hey, he's like, don't worry about it. And William Petersen goes around the back and he kicks the windows out there. It's a window. So let's get a new window. No difference. And the next day, I love this.
This is hysterical. I swear to God, this is the funniest thing I've seen in a long time, and it absolutely is one of the funniest scenes in this movie. Unintentionally, it's tremendous.
They go into this meeting here with the rest of the FBI stuff group, and they said, Two men, one black hair, brown hair, and this tan, cattle, whatever, killed the FBI agent and robbed them, and they're like, what? So they're like, so this gets John Pankow freaking out. And he's like, I gotta come clean. He's like, I don't want to do 7 years or whatever. But he also can't snitch on his. He starts talking to Dean Stockwell. What can I do? He's like, well, the most you're gonna do is maybe like a year or two of good behavior, but you have to snitch on your partner. You got to do it now, and you gotta. And he's like, well, I can't do that, And meanwhile, we got William Petersen took the money and set up the deal, and every time and at this point in the movie, every time they started showing William Dafoe, it started looking very homoerotic.
It did, but here's the thing:
I don't. He does it in Streets of Fire as well. I don't get it.
He's got an unusual face. I don't know how to describe it. It's different, and he's younger here, and sometimes he's almost wearing a Canadian tuxedo, the American style of it, the white beater with the shirt on it.
Or he's naked in front of the fire, burning the money.
Well, because that fire is one of those 3 bedrocks of a bad person, as they say, and abuse and other stuff. But the thing I noticed with him, if you just think of William Dafoe's character, he's smart, he's competent, he's not a megalomaniac where it's like, I'll just print $1 million. He's smart about how he does it, and you don't fuck with him. And he goes to him, he works out. He's a professional. And the woman that he's with, that's in this like acting dance troupe kind of thing. What we do see, and then this made sense at the end of the movie, because I'm like, I don't mind them making sweet, sweet love in the rain and posing sexy while he's burning money in the fire and all that stuff, and a lot of male ass or I don't. That doesn't bug me at all. I like it.
They're very open sexuality because, with her, she's bisexual.
Yes,
and they really handed the movie because he's like, hey, honey, I got you a gift. I got to go do this deal. I got you a gift.
Well, I was just going to say the setup for that is we see him kissing when he meets her to establish their relationship. And he sees this girl that's putting makeup on looking at her, or
removing the makeup.
Then in the next scene, right around here, when he goes to meet her and talk to her, the black-haired girl is rubbing her feet. So they're part of the bisexual relationship is growing, but it's not talked about. It's just shown while they're delivering something. That's good movie making and all that too, because you're right. He loves her. He gives her a present, which is this black haired girl.
And she's in the black lingerie corset and real garters and everything.
80s style. Man, lingerie back then. Wow.
And so he leaves, and she sits there, and so then they end up going to he's gonna go do the deal. He grabs the cash, the sack. I love it. He always has the cash in a sack, like a bag, like Santa Claus.
Yeah.
And he goes to the gym. he meets there with the two cops, and then his buddy Jack, who's with the shotgun, and they did his deal. So then the guys are like, they're gonna like spring the bus on him, like inside their handcuffs. He's like, here, we're gonna arrest you, But it turns out this is where the most shocking part of the movie, and I think this is also where the movie just got ruined for me.
Got what?
I invested so much time in William Petersen.
No, this was a shock. I did not see this coming. They go down for the deal, and what happens?
Well, as they're getting ready to arrest him, Petersen's got his gun on Dafoe, and he's gonna pin up against the wall. He's gonna handcuff him. Pankow is gonna go grab the other guy, but the guy quickly pulls a shotgun on him, and then they're like, "Oh shit!" Mexican standoff, and then he turns and shoots Petersen in the face.
Fucking obliterates it, and you see it, and you're like, "Holy fuck!" I jumped. I swear to God, I was on my couch. I was like,
"Are you freaking kidding me?" It's like It's like made me so mad.
I know. My dog started barking at me like they thought something was wrong. I haven't been that shocked in a long time.
Your dogs were mad. Well, your dogs were, they were mad because Petersen got his face blown off with a shotgun.
He's the only one we're rooting for in this movie.
Yeah, I know. So we got Pussy Boy, John Pankow's character, basically has to go pursue. And this is where we get my big problem with this movie. He goes back to the warehouse because he already talked to this other person who basically knew Masters when he was younger and knew he liked to paint and stuff, and knew he had his warehouse down there.
It's very convenient, isn't it?
He found it like 30 minutes before in the movie. Didn't say a damn thing to anybody. They could have skipped the whole everything. Went to the printing press, Remember,
it has a Chinese symbol on it. Yeah,
yes.
That's weak ass writing.
Yeah, because after Petersen's dead at the deal and stuff, he gets out, he looks around, and he goes back to that warehouse, and he knows it's on fire. Torch. He goes in there, he looks around, and he sees, Dafoe kind of just standing there, defeated, and then he's like, here, and he pulls his gun, and he's like, I'm gonna arrest you, but then he can't pull the trigger or whatever because he's like whatever, he's kind of like caught off guard. Caught off guard. And then he gets beat with a lumber by
that lumber would have just shattered his fucking face. I'm sorry. I loved it. I was like, take that, bitch.
I thought Dafoe was gonna walk away with one of those movies where the hero dies and the villain just walks.
He's dressed to the nines. He's walking around with the jack on. He's looking his best.
He's got that Ferrari drives too.
He's got the turtleneck. I'm loving it.
Yeah.
William Dafoe.
Yeah. William Dafoe, but then he even takes the money out, the shredded money out the bag, trash, and throws it on top of the guy. He's getting ready to light a magazine, but then Pankow turns around, shoots his gun at him, and he shoots him 5 times, and then because he steps back, and then he's in the incinerator, like the paint thinner, whatever, usually accelerator, and it catches on fire and he burns to death. He's screaming, ah! And you see Pankow constantly shooting gun. Flashbacks about a day or two later. John Pankow is driving William Petersen's truck.
Yeah. Was that a Ford Bronco? Was that a Bronco?
It looked like a Ford Bronco. Kind of looked like that.
Yeah.
Or one of those Winnebago trucks. Anyway, remember the Ford Rams or the
Dodge Ram?
Yeah, it was like they had the Dodge Rams, but they also had there was another kind of Ram, but it wasn't. It was
We'll have to do 80s cars.
We'll have to look at
so many of them here.
But anyway, so he goes up to our favorite girl again. He goes up to Darlanne Fluegel. She's going to leave. He's like going somewhere. He's like, and then I'm
getting out of the town.
Yeah, he's like, well, the U.S. government wants their $20,000 back. We know that you have the 20. He's like, I don't have it. It's like you guys put me in a situation. No, people are going to go after me. And he's like, too bad.
And he's got the V-neck on a pop collared now, and
he's got the glasses on. He's like, well, guess what? You used to work for Petersen. Now you work for me. No, I'm the man and stuff. And it's like, and he's gonna do is gonna have a sexual, basically same relation because he says he said you set up Petersen with that money. You set us up. Like, it was your thing. You knew it was like FBI informant, or agent, all that was,
And it makes sense because the thing that confused me here when you were talking about the car chase.
Yeah.
Once they got on the aqueduct and they're driving or whatever like that, all these people came out like a video game. Like, how would they know to be there to look for this guy?
Yeah, yeah.
So it was because she not only did she know who the person was coming from San, I think it was San Francisco.
And she wouldn't give a name either.
He goes, how are you able to tell me which train he's on? She goes, well, I looked it up. I called them. I'm like, well, why the fuck did you do that?
Yeah.
So it wasn't set up.
So that's the first of the two reveals at the end. The other reveal is that Dean Stockwell is talking to the chick that was with Masters. I think there was Serena. Is it or is it Bianca? Yeah. I think it was Serena, Jane Torres, or anyway, talking to her, and he basically says, like, it's like, oh, I can't believe he's gone. He's here. You might want these tapes. These are all the smut tapes he made with Dafoe. He's like, she grabs all of them and then leave. And it turns out, she goes to his car, which is still there.
Mm-hmm.
And who's in his car? The other chick.
Yes.
And they planned this.
Yes. Yeah. I did like that. And I didn't like Putt's face trying to act like he was the man. But I'm going to go back to the title of this movie, To Live and Die in L.A. And now it makes sense because we thought Petersen was going to at least get away with it, kind of, and he didn't. And I know you hate that because I agree. I was rooting for him all the way. He was doing the right thing. This movie was centered around him. It was tough to watch him kind of skirt the law, but we don't get into the, I'm going to arrest you if you do. It was just, no, I got to do it. And he's up in the ante. And he's trying to have a relationship with his new partner, and he even explains it to him. And we see his new partner trying to do that here, and that was the fucking twist that got me, because as putsy as his new partner was, a pussy boy who didn't really had no street cred, could really work it, he tried. So that's all you can ask, right? And then he does go with him on a bus. He does go with him. It's crazy and all that. They get away with it. You see him going through anguish. I thought, okay, they might get away with it here at the end. I wasn't sure.
So do you know why you love this car chase so much? And if you have been looking at that Berwick corner to me, the director of French Connection.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why we got an awesome car chase. We see, if you watch French Connection, where he's underneath, he's chasing the train and he's driving through, and it was just a kid and he keeps driving. He's looking at the train, we're following the L train, and then here he's like, "Hold my beer, let's do it better. Let's do this." And like I said, there's not many movies you can watch or shows that have great car chases. We always talk about Bullet.
See, part of me says this about Bullet. I like it. It's intense. It's got Steve McQueen, and he's a charisma kind of actor, doesn't talk much. But part of me goes, if you took him out of it and put somebody else driving it, how good is the actual chase itself? The thing with the French Connection, it's so chaotic when they're driving around that, like I say, you feel like you're in a car. Here, you definitely have the camera in the car, literally, basically almost on the shoulder, looking out there while people are moving and jumping. And it's fantastic.
To add to it, you have John Pankow freaking out in the back. He's like, "You're gonna get us killed." It's like, and they're almost hitting cars. Basically, trucks are backing into them, and he's going zigzagging around them, and he's just going through traffic, and just like, oh, it's just crazy. Especially when they drive through, they're aqueduct, they drive through the water. You see the water comes out the windshield, and you can't see anything. It's just great. You see the outside look of the vehicle too, everything. And
water splashing on the windshield. I mean, that's usually good, but it's not done well. Here you go, oh fuck, you can't see out of it while he's trying to, get the wipers going.
And it's gonna be a good movie when you have an aqueduct, like a car chase or anything kind of meet where like the cars are in the aqueduct. Because someone's gonna get shot, they're gonna drive away and stuff. So something's going down.
Yeah, there's something about it when you do this. When I say it's a lot of stuff's too sanitized, too clean, too CGI, too much cutting and chasing. The thing is I know it sounds stupid, and I always talk about T.J. Hooker in the early '80s with Shatner and all the cop roles he does, and avoiding cars and all the stupid stuff. But here we go, okay, we know they're shooting this live. We know they've got it timed and sequenced out. We know it's a big fucking deal. But it still feels like the car is very close to hitting these guys. And when he's driving for an extended period of time, on the tracks, there's these multicolored things that look like fire hydrants or something. They're next to the train track.
Now, so if you hit those, you're gonna
you're fucked, right?
Yeah.
And so he's got to avoid them while he's driving it, and then he still has to time cutting across the train, and he does it, and you're not getting all these jump cuts. I'm like, that's not easy. It just felt really good, really intense.
The only thing I would have added to this movie is increase the heat in this movie, like make it look hot. So they got a fan, you're like taking the fan. Why is it, keep going? Little.
Well,
fans.
It was Christmas time going into the new year.
I know. I would have filmed it during summer, so we give a hot. That would have been so much better.
That's interesting. Yeah,
because
I like the CD strip club too.
Because the concrete jungle, that's basically what they call LA. I would have loved it as a hot summer, like we had in Predator 2. I want a really hot day of the year. I want July. I want it so freaking warm out there. I want to see the guys perspiring stuff, and then having the run and chase. It would have been it would have been so much cooler, especially when they had that scene here where they're doing the stakeout and they're in the church watching.
I thought that was funny. You're
Yeah.
staking out a bad guy in a church.
Yeah, and it's raining. He's like, talk about the rain and stuff. You guys keep putting the hand on it, and he wipes his face. Keep
I'm
himself
looking
awake.
at the cast here. Gary Cole was in here. He was the guy getting chased.
Yeah.
Gary Cole has been in a lot of stuff, guys. You know him. I think he was in the driving movie with Will Ferrell. It's his father, and he's been in a lot of stuff.
We had Michael Greene in here, who is from Dakota. Show back in the Western, there's just so many actors in here, and that's the thing with I try to go through them and like see which ones are actually like did other things. There's a guy named Pat E. Johnson in here. Mm-hmm. He's got that handsome, he's got the handsome face, because it's almost like he could be like a Burt Reynolds or Steve Gutenberg, but he's got the handlebar mustache goes down. Uh-huh. He looks like the 70s cop. But we're also because we had Steve James in here. For those who've never watched, Michael Dudikoff movies,
he's one of our canon babies. He died really young though.
Yeah. Like I said, this is my first movie with Robert Downey Sr. in it. I've never seen a movie with him before. Just seeing Dean Stockwell, every scene he's on, I kept thinking that's Al from Quantum Leap. Yeah.
He was actually in one of our, I think, season 1 episodes of Columbo. I remember him being by a pool near the top or something. And I remember going, "That's him! Oh my God, he was around 20 years before, Quantum Leap." I'm like, wow. So yeah, look. Final thoughts. Give it to me.
Final Thoughts is a very good movie. If you've never seen it, and then we're spoiled it for you, I'm sorry, but you'll probably forget. If you're like me, you'll forget within a day or two how it ends because we already told you the ending. But everyone's really good in this acting in here. The women are good looking in here. Petersen just oozes sex appeal. For who cares? Who needs Tom Selleck? This guy just comes off. He's tall, slim, and fit. Everything there. And like for the ladies, if you pose it, you can actually see his dick swinging back and forth at the beginning of the movie.
There's a lot of male ass in here. It's high up on the list for amount of male ass time that you see, as well as semi-erotic posing.
William Dafoe naked, you get to see that too, for the behind, at least twice.
Yeah.
The girls, you get to see Darlene Fluegel topless. You get to see, I think it's also Debra Feuer topless really as well. But I said it was a very good movie. It's free in Tubi right now. Go watch it. It's a nice HD copy too. The music is just great in here too. It adds the movie. Just everything we always talk about when we look in LA and there's other San Francisco when we did the Chuck Norris reviews, how everything looks different today back then. It's a time capsule. Watch this movie and you'll get to see things they like and hey, I remember how it used to be like that. Now it's changed stuff, especially those who live around the Los Angeles area in California. So, and this movie does not get talked about whatsoever enough. I didn't know this existed. What I remembered him from? It was Wim Petersen. Yeah, before anything else, he on NCIS was Manhunter.
Yeah,
I didn't think he was in anything else really. I mean, that was really big or stuff. And this was a low budget movie, and do you remember how much it walked away with?
It was like 3 times its budget, like 17-20 million, if I remember. And I remember at the time, people either loved this film or thought it was a piece of shit. There was no in between. I remember them talking about The Exorcist a lot and the French Connection, which I hadn't seen. French Connection.
17.3 million from a $6 million budget.
Yeah, so I mean, it did well. I remember a lot of us in high school would talk about stuff because Beverly Hills Cop, fun movies. They're cute. But then a lot of us wanted this kind of a movie that was more gritty and more realistic. And I think people like us gravitated more towards your Miami Vice, those kinds of things. But yeah, a little slick and stylish. And then the ones that wanted cute, ha-ha, laughy, funsy shit went for fucking Remington Steele. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And Moonlighting. I like Moonlighting, but Remington Steele, come on, man. I might go back and watch it at one point. And I know it's Pierce Brosnan. But people like all the easy stuff.
Screenplay was done by American author and of crime fiction, Gerald Petievich, who also was a former agent of the United States Secret Service.
Yeah, apparently this is one of the most authentic movies when it comes to talking about, or at least at the time, printing money and all that, because money's a little different now. It's actual paper and stuff like that. So I like the fact that it had a little bit to it there. Yeah, this was Johnny's request. I know we had talked about a couple films. Some people had requested and we had them on a short list. So I know we were looking for something. I thought of it because I don't know if I saw an ad or William Petersen, something in my subconscious was making me want to do it. And I'm so glad we got a chance to go ahead and review this. It was a wonderful film. I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, so he took because so we were talking about Wang Chung. Wait was the song they kept playing in this here too.
Yeah.
And it was like I said, it was everything was recorded within a 2-week period. You know, after Wang Chung saw a rough cut of the film, that they produced the song for this movie.
Yeah.
And, yeah, so it was like
produce. That's what we did in the 80s. Hey, you got 3 months tops. Go get it done.
and it peaked at 41. You know, on the Billboard. You know what it's called, Billboard Hot 100. This movie. So this movie, just like we had what was the other one with the Beverly Hills Cop 2? The garbage truck scene in the beginning. That song.
Mm-hmm.
Forget who this is. It's not Point Sisters. Who is it?
I don't recall.
But anyway, like certain songs you'll always remember from this movie. And this movie, if I ever hear the song on the radio by Wang Chung, I'm gonna think of this movie right away because they just fits. Breakfast Couples have simple minds. Don't you forget about me. Like this is a song that goes with this. And yeah, you really
didn't see Petersen getting his face fucking blown off, did you?
Oh my gosh, his face. Well, you see a big dot.
The scene you didn't expect it to happen.
Well, no, I did not expect it to happen because I figured like you're gonna have good guy wins against bad guy. I think he was gonna get killed. It was gonna be a useless John Pankow. But then they tried to make him to a tough guy at the end. I was like, what is this horrible bullshit ending?
They all got played by a bunch of bisexual women. Good for you, ladies.
Yes,
I'm serious.
Women power. I was like, is this 80s or 90s when I had the ending? That's how I felt like.
They would have done that in the 90s.
Limp Bizkit was also in Young Guns 2. Yes, he was in there too, and I think he was one of the bad guys.
And he's one of the father.
Was he Pat Garrett?
I don't recall.
I can't remember. But we'll be doing some more Emilio Estevez movies just for your pleasure. So probably they'll look for Young Guns.
Thank you for the request. I assume you loved it, and that's why you want us to review it too. So but normally we don't get requested for people that hate something.
If you guys have more movie requests that we haven't done yet, leave a comment down below and let us know, and so we can look into those because we love doing that stuff, and we love having people show up to watch the movies they're requested. So click like, subscribe, do all the fun stuff, and yeah, leave a comment. It helps the algorithm push us out, shares us out, so we get more people watching. I know we have over 1,000 subscribers, but we're not getting anywhere near to what we should be for reviews. So if you can share this channel out, be awesome, and check out our former videos and stuff there because we need the watch time really bad. And so yeah, we're here to help you review movies. So we'll see you guys later on Sunday. Later.